Hello everyone, welcome to a new video. It is me, Desiree. It is time for yearly favorites, where I'm just going to share all the products I loved the most this year. With my yearly favorites, I do only like to feature products I discovered in the year, not just like a running list of favorites, so it doesn't get too repetitive. So these are all not necessarily new products that came out this year, but they are new to me, products I really discovered this year and loved so much. I am going to break it up into 3 videos, so today's going to be all the complexion, the blush, the primer, concealer, powder, foundation, and setting spray video, and then 2 other videos with the other products will come later in the week. So in this video, we're gonna be doing all the complexion stuff. So let's start with the primers. I have 2 primers in here. One is an eye primer, of course, the Morphe eyelid primer. I absolutely love this stuff. I got this in an advent calendar last year, and I opened it and I was like, oh, whatever. You know, I wasn't really into primers, like especially eye primers. I just found them kind of like useless. But ever since I started using this, I get it now. I get why people go on and on about having an eye primer and why they're so awesome. I love this one. So I have used this all year, and there's still a lot in here. I think a little goes a long way. I like to put this on as like my first step, even if I'm not doing my eyes first, because by the time I get to my eyes, I like the way it's kind of dried down a little bit. I feel like letting the primer kind of sink in and kind of gel with your eyelid skin really like helps it a lot more, or like helps your eyeshadow adhere to it better. It doesn't feel as tacky or as sticky. I love this. It helps the longevity of my eyeshadow times 1,000, helps it blend, helps it stick. Love it so much. And then the other primer I really love this year that I don't think I ever really talked about is the Milk Makeup Hydro Grip Primer. So this isn't the bottle I've had all year. Actually, one of my coworkers just recently gave me this. She didn't like it. She just asked me if I liked it, and I was like, yeah. So she gave me this big old bottle, so I just wanted to show you for effect. But I mostly have been using packet samples that I've had. And then I love one of the samples so much, I got one of, they sell like this size and then one that's half the size. I have the half size one. I love this primer so much. So it is like a sticky kind of gel, and I feel like when I first used this, I thought it was weird because it feels like a sticky glue or something, and until like a minute of it sitting on your skin, it is going to feel so gross. It feels tacky. It feels really like you just put glue on your hand. But I kind of let it sit on my skin for about a minute or 2 before putting on foundation or anything. And by then it is kind of like, same thing as the eye primer. It's kind of gelled with your skin. It's doing what it needs to do. It's kind of settling in a little bit. It's not as tacky or sticky. But it leaves a little bit of something on your skin for your makeup to stick to, and I feel like this helps with longevity as well. I absolutely love this stuff, and I don't think I ever really talked about it a whole bunch this year, and mostly because I find primer to be so boring. I don't like putting it on in videos because I think it's so boring to look at. I don't like watching people do tutorials on like the primer step. I find so boring, so I never really talk about it, but I loved that stuff this year. For foundation, I have 2. I have the Physicians Formula Butter Believe It Foundation and Concealer. In my opinion, whenever it just says foundation and concealer, it's just a very high coverage foundation that you obviously could use as a spot concealer as well. I love this stuff. I think it's very underrated, but I think it's underrated because the shade range is horrible. I think there's 4 shades maybe, and they all look like this one. So I think not a lot of people were able to try this, which is why it kind of didn't get any hype at all. But the people I have heard talk about this do really like it. Of course, they don't have a good shade range. But this is a really high coverage foundation, which is not normally my preference, but I really, really like this one a lot. It wears really well, looks nice on the skin, doesn't look heavy or cakey or anything, and it wears all day long. It's really, really good. I love this one. And then another one this year that I just fell in love with is the Ulta Beauty Youthful Glow Foundation Drops. Oh my goodness, this stuff is so good. This is what I'm wearing today. I have here the shade Light to Medium Neutral. So I got several of the Ulta foundations, and I wanted to do a video talking about all their foundations, and this is the one, this one and the stick one I can't stop using. But if there's one I can mention, it's this. So it's in a little squeezy bottle like this. It's really, really thin. I mean, it's like watery, serum-y thin. And it's beautiful. The formula is so nice. I know everyone's talking about that L'Oreal new one, their little serum foundation. I think this one's way, way, way better than that one. It's way thinner. It feels literally like you're putting on water on your skin. The coverage is really nice, but you can't see the foundation on your skin at all. I mean, you could get close up with the mirror, you're not gonna see anything. I like to put this on my fingertips and kind of move it around as if I'm putting on skincare or something, and then I get my beauty blender and I kind of blend it around. It's just so pretty. I'm just gonna absorb it with my sponge here. It's just a really beautiful foundation. It wears all day long. I would say you could get medium coverage with it, but what's mostly remarkable about this is that it looks like nothing on your skin. It just looks like it's your skin. It's the weirdest thing. Amazing, amazing foundation. If you want something really lightweight, but really nice coverage, skin-like, it's gonna even everything out, but feel great on your skin, I would say give this one a try. It's really, really lovely. It's super underrated as well. Another thing I loved this year is the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Perfector 4-in-1 Glow Makeup. This stuff is so good. I hope this does really well for Maybelline and they keep it around forever. I think it's a wonderful product. So it says here that it's a primer, concealer, highlighter, and BB cream. I would say, yeah, it'd be all of those things. A BB cream though, it's very light coverage. I would say it's like a high sheer coverage, you know, it's barely there, but it gives you a little bit of something. It'll give you a little bit of coverage on your face just to even things out a little. A lot of glow. It kind of looks like you just put on your skincare. I really, really like this a lot. I did wear this, I am wearing this today underneath my foundation, and I really like it. I love it a lot. I want to wear it all the time. It does come with one of these like big sponge tip applicators, which I find oddly satisfying to rub a wet sponge all over my face. I love it. Love this stuff so much. I hope they keep it around and I hope it does well for them so we can continue to enjoy it forever. I have 2 concealers in here and 2 powders. So one concealer I just used up yesterday is the Wet n Wild Incognito Concealer. This stuff is so good. I didn't realize I was so close to using this up, otherwise it would have been in my 1 year of makeup empties video, but I actually had this little tool that I got from Ulta and I kind of just stick it in there and I dig all the concealer out because it's that good. It's so good. I use the shade Light Beige. So I would say that this is a full coverage concealer, but in the nicest way ever. It's so lightweight. It doesn't look heavy or cakey or anything like that. And it blends into your skin so nicely. You can't see it on your skin. It's very natural looking, but gives you the high coverage and lasts all day. Doesn't settle into fine lines or anything like that. This is a home run product for Wet n Wild. I hope they keep this around forever. It's really, really good. And I used up the whole thing. I thought it was wonderful. And then the other concealer that really blew me away this year is the Pat McGrath Labs Skin Fetish Sublime Perfection Concealer. So that's this one here. I use the shade L5, and oddly enough, I had been using this one for a little while before I bought the Wet n Wild. The first day that I used this Wet n Wild one, I said to myself, this is exactly like the Pat McGrath. I mean, these are exactly the same. They're both very skin-like, very high coverage, but in a natural way, and they wear really well all day. I absolutely love both of these, but I feel like they're identical. So if you've been wanting to try this one because you keep hearing really good things about it, I would say try the Wet n Wild first. They're very, very similar, and I love them both equally. Great concealers. I'm using the Pat McGrath one today. And then 2 powders I have to mention. The Dior Backstage Face and Body Powder No Powder. I have here the shade 2N Neutral. I did just clean this packaging this morning because it looked crazy. Like there was powder all over the sides. So I cleaned it up just, you know, so it doesn't look too crazy. I've made a big old dip in here. Of course I am wearing this today. I love this powder. It's unlike anything I've ever tried. My Holy Grail face powder is the Too Faced Multi-Use Complexion Powder. But this one's a lot different than that. That one is like a coverage kind of powder. You can use it as a powder foundation. This one is really just a setting powder. I guess you could kind of use it as a little bit of coverage. I tried to do a heavy swatch so you can see it, but I still don't think you can. It's one of those powders that you can't really tell what the texture is. Like, is it powder? Is it cream? Is it cream to powder? No idea. It sets your makeup really nicely without making you look flat. And then it has like I don't want to say a satin finish, but it's just not a flat powder. And it's amazing. It really looks like nothing on your skin, but it still will set your face. I love this a lot. I use it a lot. Definitely a wonderful powder. Really lightweight, barely there. They have a bunch of colors too. I'm not sure if they have a translucent one. Do they? If they have a translucent, I actually want to try that one. I don't need to. I don't need it, but I want it. Now I'm talking myself into it. I love this powder. Really, really good. And then the other powder, I cannot believe it took me so long to try this, but it's from Bare Minerals. It is their original foundation, like their loose powder foundation. This is the holiday packaging from 2019. I got this at TJ Maxx, and I bought it because I've always wanted to try this, and I loved the packaging. That's pretty much all I bought it for, just so it could be cute. I don't know. And it took me a long time to use this because I just didn't know how. I will say this has a learning curve, like a huge learning curve. Luckily, there's a lot of powder in here, so you can try a lot of different techniques without feeling like you're wasting a lot. A little goes a long way with this powder as well. So it is a loose foundation, and I put a little in the lid, and then I get this brush, and I feel like this brush is really what made me fall in love with this because I couldn't find the right brush to use. I get this little ball, it's like a dense ball powder brush. I tap it in here, swirl it, get all the powder mixed into the brush really well, and then I pat it on my face like this. I don't like to buff. I know that's kind of the technique you're supposed to use, but I feel when you buff it, it like makes it look really glossy and like a shiny finish, and I really didn't like the way that looked at all. I like to use this when I'm just doing concealer and I want like a high coverage powder. I love this. It is full coverage, but it looks great on the skin. It's like blurring and everything. It's amazing. This is definitely worth all the hype that it gets. It's, I think, like a bestseller forever. And I'm glad I found it at TJ Maxx for half off because I never would have bought it otherwise. And I really, really like this. But huge learning curve, like the amount of moisture you have on your skin, your moisturizer, the primer, everything like that really matters with this. So experiment and try different things. Find the right brush that works for you. I love this. It took me a while to fall in love with it though, but I do love it now. And then I have three setting sprays to mention, and then we are done with the complexion video. So this is the Morphe Continuous Setting Mist. This is an empty. I just pulled it out to show you what it looks like, but this is an empty bottle. I freaking love this. I think if I could only use one setting spray for the rest of my life, I would pick this one. It's really good. So it's in an aerosol type can, and you just spray it on your face. It's really great. It has a nice mist. It's one of those mists that's light, but you can still feel it hitting your face. It's not so light that you have to put it this close. It's a nice one. You just spray it. I feel like you can't really overdo it either because it's so fine. No big droplets or anything like that. This really does help the longevity of my makeup. It doesn't change anything about it though. So if I had really matte skin and I wanted it that way, this wouldn't take away the matteness at all. It's just gonna set exactly what I have. I love this so much, but I have other sprays to use, so I'm not gonna repurchase it just yet. But the other one I actually really love is from Morphe. This is the Luminous Setting Spray. So this one is a traditional kind of pump style bottle. The mist on this one is really, really nice as well. This one does have a scent. I think it's like grass or something. Yeah, it smells like someone just mowed the lawn outside. It smells really nice. The scent doesn't linger or anything like that though, so it doesn't give me a headache. But this is their Luminous Setting Mist, another one with a really great spray, but this one is very luminous. So it's not like glittery or shimmery, it just kind of makes your skin look wet and then it stays that way. I really, really like this one for days when I put on too much powder and I wasn't really paying attention. This one really brings some life back to my skin. I really like it. And then the last spray I loved this year is from Dior, and it's their Forever Perfect Fix Set Refresh Hydrate Setting Spray. So I love this one a lot. It's another setting spray that really just like seals everything into your face. Not gonna budge. It really helps longevity. I like the packaging, the way it looks, but I don't like the sprayer. So the pump is kind of hard to press, and it also, when I go to push it, it like pushes my hand out of the bottle because it's so hard to push, and it drives me nuts. So I poured this out into another bottle that I like the spray on a lot more. But the spray is really, really nice. I don't know if I go out of my way to buy this one again. It is very expensive for what it is. I would pick the Morphe one if I could only have one. But those are three of my favorites this year. And that is it. Those are all of the complexion products I loved the most this year, that I discovered this year. Let me know if you've tried any of these. What has your experience been? I would love to know. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Tomorrow is going to be blush, bronzers, highlights, face palettes, all that good stuff. So I will see you then. Thank you for watching. Oh, goodbye.